So like when I was young, when the first Lasonic, like made in China cassette players came in, they were not that expensive, you know. They could cost like about 10,000, and they had a little mic karaoke jack on it. So I'd record like my friends in the neighborhood, like I'd put an instrumental or something, and then would like record lyrics on it, and just stuck in my head that this is something that's really exciting and nice. And then of course after high school I started working in a fish factory, so then I was never happy there in the factory, and then I just had to come back to doing music or something creative with my...
I was always interested in art, even as a little kid. And I was fortunate enough to have teachers who really nurtured that gift in me, I suppose.
In high school, I remember I used to try and sell cards, design cards for people, or draw their envelopes so that they send to their friends or their family. Yeah, so I really felt, okay, let me just do it as a profession. It's not something that I can say I planned for.
Some of the phrases I've heard people use, or parents to their children. If your son, for example, is a musician, the first question you will ask, is that what you went to school to learn? Do you think you will manage? Is that all you can do? Because our perceptions are that creative industry is a part-time, something that we do for fun, not to earn a living, but I've seen a change in that perception.
Creative spaces such as the Go Down, Kuona Trust, Kenya National Theatre, and the Sarakasi Dome have played a key role in hosting creatives by giving them a safe haven where they're better able to express themselves.
2003, we found the space after a long search. Really what we were looking for was to have a footprint for creative businesses, for artists, somewhere where they could synergize, but somewhere the public could also find them. And so the idea was to try and find, create, or establish a multidisciplinary public space that was both a workspace and, of course, a space for promoting the excellence that we have in our local creativity.
In a nutshell, we publish contemporary African writing. And we do that in a multitude of formats. We have an annual journal that comes out every year. We're on the 5th edition. And we have also built other lines of work focusing on the same kind of content, but different kind of formats. So we have a line of titles called the Kwanini series. We have another called the Kwani series that publishes both fiction and non-fiction titles. And we have just launched a photo-visual series.
One or two major festivals, most notably the Sawasawa Festival, which we hold around June every year. But apart from that, now that we acquired this space, we are trying, actually it's kicking off more now, to have active programming within the Dome. We can't really say that there's a definite program as now, but as need comes, you know, if you see that there's a new production we want to expose the public to, we go ahead and do an event for that. Also, of course, the Dome is open for hire, you know, to other people. And with them, we usually partner. You can come to us with an idea for a production or for a show, and we'll see how best to use our expertise to bring it out.
Some of the major things that you face as an artist is realizing that actually whatever you're doing is not actually bringing in anything. You know, you're not moving. You just find yourself having nice music, perhaps. In the beginning, there's the issue of going to the studio, but once you've established yourself, you've made an album, like in my case, you have so many singles out there, videos, people have seen you, then you realize that actually you are not a business, you are just stuck. So then you realize that actually you need to know a lot in terms of how does your music turn into finance.
Nimepata changamoto nyingi sana, haswa kutoka kwa wazazi, ya pili kutoka katika mazingara, ambapo ni ya tatu katika semi market, ambapo nime pia ikuishi.
Experience. With the less experience you have, it's very hard for you to get clients outside there. The less time you're on the field, it's very hard for you to convince someone that you can do for him something good. Even if you do something good, it is very hard for them to accept that they can pay you that much to do that something good for them.
A misappreciation of cultural products, primarily by the locals themselves. So it's very hard, especially in this industry, to have locals supporting you by buying the products.
An informal idea had in an informal space, informal discussions had about this idea. There's always the challenge of translating that in terms of the investments that people make, the social capital that goes into forming an idea. There's always the challenge of translating that into an institution, if you like. So you have a lot of people who have ideas sitting around talking about them. But once you grow to a certain level where you're actually an institution that does A, B, C, D, sometimes it's very difficult to make sure that you're building a unit that is flexible enough to accommodate the initial idea behind what you're doing.
Being a creative person, working when I did as a musician, of course the challenges were the challenges of the business. The challenges of the business were whether you had the resources to do the thing you wanted to do, whether you had the spaces that could support you, whether the country had policies that would also support or help grow the particular discipline that you were in. I mean, those were some of the challenges. Another challenge was the perception. I think the perception of the sort of acceptance that you have as a creative. Is this really a professional activity or not? Is this a viable activity or not? And then there's other problems. There's problems for those who are more business-oriented in this particular sector, the problem of markets, the problems of sales, the problems of mobility. So there's a lot of challenges at several different levels.
The Creative Enterprise is a project of training, mentoring, networking, and secondments across the creative industries led by the British Council. The purpose of this program is to equip every participant with advanced business principles and skills appropriate to the creative industry. The project's vision is to become Africa's most respected and effective scheme for developing aspiring creative entrepreneurs.
The